What is going on, everybody? I hope everybody had a great weekend, and we're very excited to, trade this week. I know market just opened up about an hour ago, and all of our trades are already in profit from last week's market breakdown. But so my apologies on last week's audio. Something went wrong, but I fixed it now. So I just wanted to, clear up exactly what's going on this week and update you guys on the latest. So starting off with EURJPY, right? Market opened up down here and rose up to the 128.39 area. Now you guys recall from last week's breakdown, I said that EURJPY will probably rise up a little bit before it drops down. As we unfolded on Friday. I said that on Thursday, and on Friday, exactly what I said happened to the dot. Right, I said it could touch this EMA, and I had the stop loss over here. So I actually got stopped out in that situation, but we re-entered at the exact same location right here. You guys can see that on the 1 hour chart right here that the EMAs crossed over on Friday. This was a fake move, right? I think what happened was once market, let me move this out the way. Once market reached this area on Friday, we had our stop loss a little above that, so we didn't have to worry about that. But when it came down, it wanted to go the whole way down here. However, market realized there was a lot of stop losses up here, so it wanted to wipe them out before, before going down and fake everybody up to the upside movement. So as you can see right now, as I'm talking, EURJPY is dropping. Literally, every single peasant, you can literally see it live, just dropping. So if you're already in the trade, congrats. I've called that EURJPY will be dropping. So what to expect then is this will actually continue to drop, right? And however, I don't think it'll drop the whole way to the 127.92 area just yet. Okay, so if we look at the Fibonacci, for example, right, let me get this body to this body close. All right, so first level that market will probably drop down to the 61 area before it starts maybe going up a little bit more and then continuing to drop, right? Now, what I'm trying to show you is if we go wick to wick, right, it just so happens that the 61 on this side is around the 127.99 or say 128 for simplicity purposes. So that's where we're gonna have the take profit. That's where I expect market to drop, and that's a nice place to put your take profit. That way, you're not risking too much at all, and you're definitely not wasting the opportunity of the drop. Okay, so it'll drop to around 128 level. That's where I'll be taking my profit before I continue on to the rise call. So it is expected to rise as I have driven up, right? Once it drops back to this area, like I said, the 128, it'll expect to rise. Okay. Now let me just go into different charts just to show you guys a little something. So if I actually go back to the weekly, right, looking at the bigger time frame, you guys can see this zone that I have driven up here. Right, this zone, price doesn't hang around this zone often. You see it, is either above it, closed below it, couldn't break it, on it, down through it. It doesn't hang around in this area. So you guys can see on the weekly as well, the candle, last week's candle hit the EMA to the T, and then this week it's already starting to drop. So, but if we go back on the daily, I'm not gonna go too much into EURJPY, but if you go on the daily over here, you guys can see, you guys gotta note these wicks, these huge wicks, right? That tells you a huge sign, right? So when there's a huge wick like that, that means that this red is very respected. Okay. Now I have this Fibonacci based on the wicks, these wicks to be exact, right? The top wick and the bottom wick over here. And it just so happens that the 78 just lines perfectly with this zone, right? And the 61 matches perfectly with this zone. And you guys can see right now, price is actually hitting my EMA. It already rejected off of it, and it already hit the zone. So definitely expect your JPY to drop a little bit more before any rises. So this zone could be a retest before it rises more. But moving on to your GBP. Now this trade was also stopped out based on a small loss here. However, I kept this up just to show you guys what I would be doing, right? So looking at the daily first off, but actually let's look at the weekly first, right? I want to show you guys something. This zone right here, I can even extend it back here, has been respected heavily, as you can tell, right? Price never ever hangs out in that zone. It either goes through it or below it, or wicks it. So what I noticed was price last week, even though it rose, right? EMA's crossed over, even though it rose, it got to this area. I expected to drop, and what happened was it wicked near the zone, but it did not go down. So on the daily, if we're looking at the daily, right, it did make sense to enter at this area because you guys can see there's pressure here, previous, and even back in November, we had, in October, we had pressure in that area. So now we're very aware of what market does on Fridays, right? Friday is considered a fake movement day. That's what the market likes to do on Fridays. So I did expect a rise, just a little bit, depending on how many people have put sells and buys in that area. So for example, on Friday, looking at it, a lot of people did sell, right? Just like I did. And I think that's why market went up to hit the stop losses. However, market opened up today just above the last high, which is a great sign. So you guys can see it's touching this zone area, right? We've gotten out back here, okay? It touches zone area. I expect EURJPY. Now this is the new trade that we're entering in. This is my trade that we just entered in right now before I even make this market breakdown. Now I did call just a little rise, like I said on Friday. The rise did go up a little bit further than expected. So I didn't expect it to rise. It's 25 pips or 30 pips, but it's okay. That's just another entry for us. And what I do believe that is going to happen is that market is going to rise a little bit more before it drops, just like it might not even rise that much more, but it's going to EURJPY and EURJPY are very correlated right now. Try to find the brush here. Where's the brush at? Here we go. So, like I said, let's get blue. Market could wicket this zone area before it starts dropping. I wouldn't be surprised if I see another retest before an actual drop. Now, I do see EURJPY dropping back to this EMA area. So if you guys wanted to actually know a specific take profit for EURJPY, I would say it would be around this area. And the reason being is that on the 1 hour chart, EMAs look like it's going to rise to that area. So I'm still very bearish about Euro USD. I mean EURJPY, my apologies. But I could see this actually going down to a little bit further than that. So if we're looking at what I drew last week, is that I expected this to drop to the EMAs, to the 200 EMA over here, right? Now, you see market actually went further away from the EMA. So, and looking at this, the EMA also crossed over this respected trend line. So I'm still waiting for a retest of this EMA, right? Even though market risen on Friday, just to fake everybody out, you guys can see the actual trend was to go down. We might have entered a little early, but I think what happened was just a stop hunt, but the analysis is correct. So the first take profit, if you enter right now, would be around 0.8915. But if you're looking maybe to a longer term, I do expect this coming down to the EMA on the 4 hour chart, which would be around 0.88. This could even drop down, if we're being realistic, because of how market is acting, how far it is from the EMA. I would not be surprised that it uses this zone as a major drop back underneath the EMA up to the 87 area and then a rise. So if we even look at the Fibonacci for a second, would you look at that, right? Market right here. Market is at, it opened up at this area, so the wick is over here, right? And from wick to wick, around this area, you guys can see that what I drew back to that 0.87 is not just a random number. It's just happened to be at the 0.61 area of the Fibonacci. So I am expecting EURJPY to drop from this area. But moving on to EURUSD, this is an interesting one as well. And this is the last one I'm going to be covering in this, is that if you entered in the trade that we called last week on the market breakdown, you've already been in profit. You can take profit right now. However, what I would suggest is that you wait. You entered in a great position. You can take minimum profit, but EURUSD doesn't seem like it's following EURJPY or EURJPY, right? EURUSD seems like it's kind of doing its own thing, right? I believe EURUSD right now, and this is what everybody is already in, is that you can see the wicks to this zone already. So I am expecting a little bit more fall, right? Just to be inside that wedge, maybe a little bit more down, just to fake everybody that broke that trend line, just to fake everybody up before it continues to rise. And the reason why I say it's going to drop is because even though Euro JBP and Euro JBY are not always correlated with Euro USD, it does have some effect considering it is the euro. So it's just it's hard to see Euro USD explode just yet, considering Euro JBP and Euro JPY are showing very strong bearish momentum. So going back to Euro USD, like I said, this green was drawn from last time, but the analysis is still there. I do expect this to maybe drop a little bit before it rises, or it could honestly just consolidate in this wedge. Even though euro could be dropping on the other charts, this could consolidate before it rises. But hope you guys enjoyed the market breakdown. Let me know what you guys think in the group chat. Comment on this YouTube channel. Share this with everybody. You know, share it with your friends. Let people know what's going on, and you know, have them join the Fxblade family for to also see how the market works in clarity. And you know, I just hope everybody enjoys this week. Use this in your knowledge, and I will be updating you guys if anything happens in the Telegram channel.